Do you want to get high drama out of your portraits? Are you trying to make your subject look happier and more vibrant? Or are you trying to get something that's a little bit in between? My name's Paul from Hunt's Photo Education, here to talk to you a little bit about light placement and how light placement can affect your images and the mood of the images. So I'm here today with a bunch of different lights. And again, you can pretty much work with anything. You could be working with strobes, you could be working with LED, you could be working with tubes. You have the ability to pretty much do all of these things with all of that gear. Today, what I'm using, I have a big Forza 300 by nanlite with a Westcott medium modifier on it right now. I also have a Forza 60 back here with just a reflector dish on it. And I've got a couple tube lights by nanlite, which are the Pavo series tubes, and they're gonna both act as a secondary light source. And we're gonna work with all three of these and see how they fit together to kind of portray what we're looking for in our shots. So to start off, I'm gonna actually shut off these two and work just with my main light. So I'm gonna start off by using my main light, which is the Forza 300 with the medium Westcott modifier on it. And I really like this as kind of a main light because it is a large softbox. It's gonna fill in all of the shadows on the face and also is gonna create a nice soft, even light over my subject. Depending on where I place this light will depend how my subject is going to affect mood-wise. So as you can see, if I move this more towards the center here, and you can kind of see how it's filling in a lot of the shadow areas in my face, overall, this is going to produce a really nice soft light and very even and kind of cheery. So it makes me kind of look like I'm in a good mood, which I am always in a good mood. If I move it over to here, you're gonna notice that I'm gonna create a little bit more shadow. Shadow is gonna fall on this side of the face, so it's a little bit more moody. And I can always have my subject turn a little bit this way, so we get a little bit more strong light over here, and it kind of fades off a little bit here, which is nice. And I can also take this light and shift it to the back so that it's really off to the side here. And so you can see, this is creating just a little strip of light on my face. You know, this is gonna be very, very moody. This light can pretty much accomplish all of those things. So if you're looking for just one light source, this is a really good option. There are reasons to go with more than just this, and there are reasons to go with other things other than this. So right now, I'm gonna switch from this light right here to the tubes, and I've got two tubes over here, which are going to essentially be a side light for me, and that's gonna create kind of a similar sort of look to what I've got going on here, but a little bit different. Okay, so my main light source is now off, and now I'm only using the tube lights on the side. And again, they're creating that really nice accent light, creating a little bit more of a dramatic sort of mood. Now, I'm only using those, so they are the main light source in this setup. I can also move this lighting setup towards the center to get a similar kind of look as if I was using the softbox. And so you can kind of see that, you know, it's creating a very similar sort of feel. It kind of depends on what you're going for. Right now, the light is literally right next to me. So I would probably want to move this up a little bit and maybe angle it downward. So you can kind of see now how the angle of the light also has somewhat of an effect on how that is going to look. And not to say that we necessarily have to have our light always coming from a 45-degree angle coming down, but a lot of times we think about the most natural light that we possibly have, which is the light of the sun, and the sun is generally going to be coming from, you know, this angle or this angle, and it's usually not going to be coming upwards or even just like straight on from the side. So it looks a little bit more natural when the light is coming down like this as opposed to coming off from the side. These lights are excellent for an overall purpose, but I would probably use them as a secondary light source as opposed to the softbox that I was just using a few minutes ago as a main light. The softbox is going to create a much softer overall light, and this is really excellent for accent light. Also, I don't know that I would necessarily want to use this enormous softbox as an accent light, because then what I have to do in order to do that is I have to put this behind my subject. And as you can see, this is a pretty large softbox. So once I do this, this is taking up so much space directly behind my subject. So what would I use instead of that? Well, number one, we could use the tubes because the tubes are going to produce that quality of light and they're not going to be massive. So they're very easy to move around. Nice thing about tubes, you don't have to plug them in, so you can kind of just move them and place them where you need to. So alternatively to that, we could also use a smaller light source with just a basic reflector on it. We don't need any kind of a softbox because we're trying to create a little bit more of that drama in the shot. So now in this situation, I'm using the Forza 60 back here with just the basic reflector on it. So it's basically a bare bulb that's kind of coming straight at me, which is creating a very contrasty light. And you can see that it's a much harsher light over here than this light right here, or the softbox that we were using just a minute ago. This is going to create a really nice edge light on the side of my face, which, you know, again, just kind of adds to the dynamic of whatever it is that we're trying to shoot. And you can see if I brought this into the front here, that this is going to be a very, very contrasty light. So this is not the kind of light that you generally want to have just shining directly into someone's face. First of all, I'm getting blinded just by looking at it, but also because it's very, very harsh. One of the other things that I would use this for is for a rim light. So rim light is basically just a thin light that goes directly around your subject and kind of accents them. Now, for me, I have a pretty nicely coiffed head of hair, so it's not a huge deal for me to have rim light. Just be aware that if you have subjects that have stray flyaway hairs, it's sometimes not the best to put on them, and you'll see why in just a second. So you can see that I've got this nice little rim light that's kind of coming right around here, and you can kind of see the little accent. And if I kind of mess up my hair a little bit, and I've got the light directly behind me, you can kind of see all the little imperfections in my hair as they start kind of coming out, plus any kind of dandruff that I've got going on right now. And I'm putting this light directly behind me. So you can see that it's gonna basically just go straight at the camera and hit me and create that nice little rim light directly around the subject. I love adding in accent lighting, and accent lighting, again, can build the mood of what you're trying to go for in your shot. Now, what do we do when we want to put all three of these things together? So right now, we only have two of the three elements that we've kind of added in. We've got our tubes right here that are kind of coming from above and creating a main light. We've got a rim light directly behind me, which is creating this little accent, but we currently don't have on our original main light with the softbox. So I'm gonna reorganize a little bit and make it look, you know, kind of like a dynamic sort of piece. So this is our lighting setup right now with all three lights on. This is just our side light and just our rim light. This is just the rim light, which kind of looks cool. This is just the side light. This is just the main light. And now this is everything, all on. And again, what are we going for? What are we trying to get out of this? Now you saw three completely different types of lighting in what we're doing here. Are we trying to create a moodier sort of look, or are we trying to create a more full look in our portraits? And that is the example that we're looking at today. I hope you've enjoyed this. Hope it's been helpful. And please let us know if you have any questions.